I got the best piece of advice from a bull rider once. Hi, so today I'm going to be reviewing my very first barrel run with Lewis. Starting to try to do this more with my videos. Anytime I have a barrel run, I review it regardless, but I would like to kind of give you my 2 cents in what I see in myself as a rider that I need to work on. If you disagree, or if you agree, or if you're like, yay, I do the same thing, feel free to state that, because I'm still learning and I know I don't know a lot, so always is nice to get feedback from people that you wouldn't think you'd get it from, or if other sources. So this video that I'm going to be reviewing is his very first time really competing. I've entered him at like fun shows and stuff just because it's a good environment for him to get a barrel pattern in without any like high stress or super intense competition. It's a good place for beginner horses and riders. So this run is in Lisbon, Iowa, and it's a pretty good arena. Like when horses start running in this barrel pattern, they tend to leave ruts. And we were 5th in that drag. So there's already a good wall being built up around the barrel. Just a little information about Lewis. He's a very turny, rady horse. So typically what that means is he is more apt to hit barrels coming in. He's going to want to get right on top of them. He's not going to want to give himself a lot of room. So my job as the rider is to really push him around and past, because he's going to want to come to the barrel, slow down, get on top of it, and get out of there, which is fine, but he's sabotaging himself by getting so close. He's not giving his body enough room. Again, I don't know a whole lot, so that could be training error. Pretty much for him, I have to really train on doing nice big circles around my barrels in straight lines. That I think is one thing that I've noticed in our runs, is he is having an issue making straight lines to his barrels, because he'll already either be readying to go around and he'll be putting this big curve in his body, which is fine, but like you don't need to put that big curve in your body as soon as you leave that barrel. Like, let's get out of the barrel first and then set up. But yes, this run is about at 8:30 at night in Lisbon, Iowa. The ground was great that night. I couldn't have asked for a better first barrel pattern. We knocked our second barrel due to rider error. So let's get reviewing. So coming into our first barrel here, first run ever, it's a pretty straight line. So I couldn't have asked for a better straight line coming into the first barrel. I'm a perfectionist, so I'm really going to try to be graceful with myself. Throwing lots of grace at me. But I would really like to come through the gate and go right over to my barrel. Obviously, it's going to be more like this coming in my barrel, so it's not really technically a straight line. But it's not like this, and it's not like this, because you don't want to cut straight across, because if my barrel's here, there's no room now. And if my barrel's here and I come in like this, well, there's a ton of time wasted. So I like to have like that perfect middle ground, and that's a pretty straight line coming in. And then when I get here, my horse will start rating down to come around my barrel. Already off to a good start. But then this happens. So we're coming into our first barrel here, and I'm rating rider error number 1. My reins are way too long. I went to go run my reins and there was just so much of it. Like, I'm like, oh my God. And my sister watched this video and she was like, wow, you're really pulling on his face. I'm like, actually I wasn't. And she's like, really? There's just so much rein there there just was so much. I don't know how else to put it. So when you start barrel racing, maybe have like your training reins and then your running reins. So the reins I run Lewis in now are pretty short. Like, I have to like walk him or ride him with my hand all the way extended. Not so that way I have more leverage, but just so that when I'm going fast, I have a lot less material to worry about. Because it's not fun when you're running barrels with your hands are like all the way up here, because you have so much rein, That's rider error number 1. My reins were too long, so I fixed that. Other barrel races I've done since then have been better because I fixed that mistake. Typically I train in split reins, so normally my U-reins aren't that long, but I was starting to try to transition myself over from riding two-handed all the time to being able to ride my horse one-handed. Not neck reining one-handed, but we go around barrels one-handed most of the time. I wanted to make sure that I was able to ride that with him, because whatever you do slow, you will have to do fast. So if I can't ride my horse one-handed around a barrel slowly, I'm not going to be able to do it very good going fast. So my horse is going to be prepared for that outside rein to catch him, and it's not going to be there if I'm riding one-handed. So coming around the barrel here, I personally couldn't have asked for a better first barrel for that night, because when we went around it, it was so smooth and so snappy. Like he dug around it the whole time, and he rated it fine. He dug around it the whole time, and really, he didn't drag his feet at all. He was hustling around it pretty good. Again, for his first time ever. He wasn't trying to go super fast, but he was working. And I felt that, and I was really proud of that. I'm sitting deep in the saddle. That is a bad habit of mine, to like want to get up there with him, jockey him. But when we're going around the barrel, it's our best that we need to stay out of their way and use all of our leg to ride them and really stay off their face and stuff. Ashley Schaefer has said the more that you get on a horse's face, the more they'll brace. And if there's bracing in a barrel run, you're losing time on the clock. So I've internalized that so much that like I hate it when I get on a horse's face, because I know that I was slowing them down. So I'm really proud of how I was sitting in this barrel. Considering with the really long reins, I'm doing a pretty good job. But here comes rider error number 2. So as I'm leaving my first barrel, he over rotates his barrel. So when he leaves his barrel, as you can see like right here, he is like not even pointed toward the first barrel. It looks like he's headed to the third barrel. And so what ended up happening was, this is our barrel. We came around, and he over rotated and was pointing this way. Barrel's over here, but he's pointed up, like the third barrel. And which was great. I'm glad he really got around there, but he over rotated it, and that was my fault. I applied way too much outside leg because I was prepared for him to drift out of his first barrel. And I think that's the problem with me, is I always expect the worst when going into my barrel pattern, expecting my horse to not want to do their job. Or maybe not necessarily not want to do their job, but not take responsibility. I think what I learned from that was, when we go into a barrel pattern, especially when we have a horse that's going to be honest and responsible, it's better to stay out of their way and let them mess up than mess them up by thinking they're not going to be responsible. So stay out of your horse's business. You know, when you hear people yell in a barrel pattern, get off their face, get out of his way, you know, it's like literally back off. Like, just sit up there, like be silent, be a quiet rider. So as you can see here, going to the third barrel, we're like so far away from it. We're probably 2 horse lengths away from the barrel. Coming in right here. He's already preparing his turn, but he's way too far away from the barrel to be doing that. He had his timing down. He just wasn't where he was supposed to be because of me, because I got in his way. So he's doing his job. He's literally doing everything I've told him to do. That's what's crazy, is this run this night would have probably been like a 17-0. But yeah, we come around here, our second barrel, and right here, boop, right there. Because right there he would have been finishing his turn. Right when he made contact with the barrel, right there's where he would have been coming up and around to where I had him placed. If the barrel had been moved over like 2 more barrel spaces, we wouldn't have hit the barrel. Or, even better, if I would have been moved over 2 places closer to the barrel, we wouldn't have knocked it over. But that's because I set him up wrong, and that's because I didn't put him where he needed to be. Or more so, I got in his way of where he was trying to go. So again, going back to what I said earlier. So we finished up our barrel here, and I do appreciate his hustle getting out of there. He really did get out of there pretty quick. But after that, I wasn't upset. I was very happy because he was working and nothing was his fault. Everything was my fault. And so he did everything I asked him to, which is crazy. I just wouldn't have expected that out of such a young 3-year-old, because he had just turned 3. He's only been 3 for 2 months in this video. So crazy, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's doing so good. Like, and I couldn't have asked for anything more from him than what that night was. Yes, but coming into our 3rd barrel, it's a little wide. Would like it to be a little closer. He rated it again just fine. Again, I would have liked him 1 horse length over maybe. He's a little bit further than what I like. But he did good there too. And like, again, I feel like maybe the reason he was so far away is because of how we left our 2nd barrel. Because, I mean, horses hit barrels often, you know, pretty often. But you gotta think, it hurts when we hit it, it's gotta hurt when they hit it. So, I mean, I'm anticipating that he probably was coming to that 3rd barrel thinking, okay, don't get too close. It hurts, you know, like don't hit it. But he left it good, and he hustled home. I really like that hustle home. My goals as a rider is to stay off his face as much as possible. I don't want to get in his business in his face and really be pulling and yanking him around. 2, I really want to ride him as quiet as possible. I really want to stay off his face. I really want to be a quiet rider, and I really want to appreciate every run I have on him, because he is a very good horse. He is a very, very good horse, and I want to respect his space, if that makes sense, because he does so much for me, so I want to be able to respect what he does for me. I appreciate his I guess love for me, I guess, to go in there and do that for me. I want to respect that and keep that there, that partnership that he has with me. So the 2 things I noticed in this video that are big for me are my reins were way too long, and I need to not get in their way before they mess up. I always review your videos, and after you get done running, and if you mess up, please do not blame your horse right away, or the ground right away, or oh, I lost my stirrup, you know, whatever. Don't do that. Always review your video before you start beating up on yourself or your horse or whatever. But I'm gonna end the video here. I'm filming this on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. Just remember, an attitude of gratitude brings great opportunities. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.